morning, everybody. We're out here hanging out with the geese to do a walk around / review of this bike, the 2019 Honda Monkey. Let me just start by saying, if you've come to this channel or this video expecting a professional quality review of this bike, well, you've come to the wrong place, because I'm not that guy. I've tried to do reviews on things before and they never turn out right because I can't script things worth a damn, so I just end up rambling on about stupid crap. So I'm just going to give you my perspective of the bike, having owned it for, 2 weeks now. Got about 150 miles on it. I'm just going to do kind of a walk around and sort of my observations about the bike, a little bit how it compares to the Honda Grom, basically just my overview of it, my opinion, my takeaway of it, just what I think about it so far. Well, I don't even know where to start with this bike. I guess I can, just start by a quick overview of how it compares to the 2018 Grom that I own. I've heard it on the internet a lot and read a lot on the internet that people from the outside looking in at these bikes saying that they're pretty much just an overpriced Grom, and it's just a Grom with different bodywork on it. I can honestly say, I'm glad that that's not true. Without having ridden one or sat on one or looking at it up close, you might be one of the people that kind of believes that, and I don't blame you, because without really looking at it up close, you can't really tell how much work and how much development has gone into this bike from Honda. Now I know the price difference between this and a Honda Grom is, anywhere in the neighborhood from $600 to $800, depending on where you buy it at. This one, there was no discounts or anything on it from the dealership that I bought it from, so it was full price. These things are kind of in such high demand right now that I don't think any dealerships are willing to really work with people on, knocking a few $100 off the price here and there. And I can't blame them. I mean, they're really in high demand. A lot of people are looking for this bike, especially on the West Coast and the East Coast. But speaking on the price difference of this compared to the Grom, it's several $100s for it. And once I kind of show you a few things here on this bike, you might have a better understanding as to why the price difference is there. I guess I don't want to get too into detail about it, because I can do another video comparing side by side this bike and the Honda Grom when I have more time to do it. But I'm just going to go over like a quick few things that I've noticed, quality wise and build wise, compared to the Honda Grom, that I've just noticed about this bike. First of all, we're going to start down here on the engine casing. Honda put a lot of attention to detail in developing this bike. Now, if you can see right here, this is just a small thing that you might not notice looking at comparing this one to the Grom. They used Allen head screws on this engine casing, whereas the Grom just has like cap head bolts, your standard bolts. This one also comes with a oil sight plug. A little glass window right there so you can see how high the oil level is. And it's got a little trimming on it, but like I said, I don't want to go too much into detail, but it's little tiny things like that you'll notice about this bike that really make it stand out and make it worth the extra fewer $400 or $500, whatever it is, over the price of the Grom. Now obviously the engine, being a 125cc Honda motor on this, it's the same as the Grom, I'm sure internally and everything. But this one is painted a different color, and it's got a little bit more attention to detail as far as like the outside of the engine. Like I mentioned, the Allen head bolts that they're used on there, the chrome trim ring, and just a few other things. What I really do love about this bike, though, is if you're walking around it, when you sit on it, when you ride it, you can just absolutely see the quality of the build that Honda put into this motorcycle. For instance, we're going to go and just look at this tank. I mean, this thing is metal, and the fit and finish on this thing is just absolutely perfect. You can look and see the finish of the paint and the clear coat is absolutely just gorgeous. Even that little Honda badge right there. And we'll walk around to the other side where the lighting's better. The paint job on this bike is just phenomenal. I don't know if you know anything about automotive finishes and motorcycle paint finishes, but there's a thing called orange peel, and almost every single new car has it. And what that is on the clear coat, you can look at it and see it almost looks like the texture of an orange. But if you look at the paint job on this little bike, it doesn't have any of that problem. It's just absolutely smooth. And even on the frame, you know, the paint finish on the frame, lighting's not very good, but you can kind of see in there, it's smooth and even. I mean, even when they painted the frames on these bikes, it just, a lot of attention to detail. Even down here on the swing arm, just a lot of attention to detail. And I like the fact that with this yellow bike over the red bike, you can see the frame inside there. Like you stand back here and you can kind of see it. We'll step back here from a distance. As you're looking at the bike, you can kind of see the mechanical workings of it. You know, they didn't go out of their way to cover up, you know, the guts of the bike, if you want to say. That's what I'll call it anyways. You can see the guts in the bike. Absolutely beautiful bike. But I mean, just look at this. The chrome on the fender. Look at the finish on that. Beautiful, just like a mirror. I mean, look at the headlight. Top quality stuff right here. I mean, everywhere you look on this bike, the fit and finish on it is just amazing. So I pretty much like everything about this bike, all the way from the front to the back. There are a few things that I dislike. I guess I can go over those here real quick. I don't like that here in the United States they gave us this set of lights. Basically all that is just a Grom tail light with some little bit dressed up chrome turn signals sticking off of it. Everybody else all over the world got these really cool looking LED. It's a small center brake light. It's kind of a clear lens on it, lights up red, and even the turn signals are kind of clear, and they have, I guess, amber bulbs in them. I haven't seen them lit up, but they're just so much nicer looking. Same thing with the front. We got stuck with these kind of weird looking things. I mean, they're not terrible, but one of the things I'm going to do to this bike, I'm going to swap it over to the different light setup that everybody else has. So one more thing I don't like about this bike that Honda could have just went a few extra steps in doing is this over here, the chain guard. I mean, how is that not chrome? It's a black plastic chain guard. How did Honda miss that? That should be chrome. That'd be a perfect little touch to it. But anyways, other than that, there's not too many things about this bike that I don't like. At first, I thought the seat was kind of weird, even though it's nice and plush and cushy. You know, it's comfortable to sit on for a while. One thing I don't like about it is how wide it is right in through here, like where your legs would, I mean, your butt sits here and your legs sit up towards the front. So when you put your legs down at a stoplight, just how wide the seat is, it kind of pushes into your leg. It should have been, you know, a little more contoured down, but I guess if they did that, it probably would have, you know, looked kind of funny from the side. So you kind of have to appreciate the way that looks, just for what it is. And I know some people will complain about this gap between the tank and the seat, but I know they did that on purpose because the old little, I guess they're what I call Z50 monkey bikes, they had that gap there too. But other than a few things that I, you know, kind of wonder why they did, it's an absolutely amazing bike. Like I said, the quality is top notch, and it's absolutely worth the extra, I don't know what is it, $400, $500, $600, $700 over the price of the Grom. Now the Grom's not a bad bike, it's a really good bike too, but this one, when you sit on it, when you ride it, you can feel that several $100 difference in the bike. So it's absolutely worth the money to buy this. really the only thing that they have in common, this motorcycle and the Honda Grom, is, you know, they use the same rims, the same forks, the same engine size. They ride completely different. I mean, they handle, I wouldn't say completely different, but they do handle quite different because of the seating position, the handlebars, and obviously these tires that are on here. These are kind of like a dual sport style tire, and I really like them. I mean, they ride like you're riding on a pillow, really. The combination between the soft tires and that soft seat, this thing is just really comfortable to ride. So if you're debating on whether you want to get this one versus the Grom, I guess you just got to ask yourself, you know, which one do you think looks better? If you decide that the Monkey looks better than the Grom, then don't worry about spending the extra money on it, because you're going to get what you paid for. The Grom's not a bad motorcycle whatsoever. It's a great bike. I love mine. But I don't regret buying this one because this is so much different than the Grom is, which I'm very thankful for. Now, I'm sure there's going to be probably several things that I'm leaving out of this video, you know, comparing the Grom to the Monkey, or even going over a few things like, you know, the differences and the build quality and what I don't like or what I do like. But anyways, like I said, I'm not a professional reviewer. I'm just a dude, you know. I'm 45 years old and I ride mini bikes. I mean, I have bigger bikes that I ride. You know, I have a Kawasaki Vulcan S and a Honda Shadow. Those are great bikes too. But these little bikes, like the Monkey and the Grom and the Z125, are just, I find them to be the most fun as far as, you know, just cruising around town and going out for a ride on a Sunday or something like that. Because to me, they're so much more carefree. You know, I said this in one of my other videos, but when you ride your Grom or say now this Monkey or my Z125, it doesn't seem as serious. You know, you can just kind of hop on the bike and go cruise around. You can cut in and out of parking lots and neighborhoods and things like that. And most people don't, you know, they don't even consider you as being an asshole if you're, you know, you go through something like, see, look right over here. I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a gate that separates that apartment complex over there from this medical complex office building. If you were to open that gate and ride this Monkey through there, nobody would give a shit. Honestly, nobody would care. But if you were to ride like maybe a big dual sport or a dirt bike, or, you know, a big street cruiser or something, you pull it through there and go ripping off through there, people are probably going to call the cops on you. When you do weird shit on little bikes like this that is, hell, even illegal sometimes, people just don't care. You know, they're like, hey, look at that cute little bike. Yeah, right on, you know, give you a wave or whatever. But anyways, this is going to wrap it up for my amateurish, very amateurish walk around of the 2019 Honda Monkey. And I'm going to go ahead and hop on it and kind of take a little bit of a ride review and hopefully put enough information in there that maybe help you with your decision of buying a bike. So we'll be right back. Like I said, I'm 45 years old and prefer to ride these little mini bikes, mainly because of the reasons that I stated, but also mainly because, well, I don't feel old, but I'm definitely to the age where I just don't give a shit what people think about me. You know, what I ride, what I wear, where I live, what I drive. And life's all about enjoying the things that you enjoy. So when I bought this bike and I first got on it and took it for a ride when I left the dealership, one of the first things that I noticed was just how soft it feels. Now, I'm not talking about, you know, tapping your finger on things, that, you know, soft materials, but when you're sitting on the bike, it literally feels like you're riding around on a pillow, because the seat is so soft, the tires are so spongy and bouncy, the clutch feels soft, the brakes feel soft. The brakes work really well, so does the clutch, but everything about it, I hate that bump, just feels soft. You know, it's relaxing, it's nice and comfortable. You're in a really nice seating position on this bike. Now, when I got this bike, I had originally seen the concept or even the prototype for this bike. I guess it's been about a year and a half ago. When I first saw it, I immediately wanted one. And then when the kind of the video reviews started coming out for it, it just made me want one even more. Now, that's one thing that this bike does, that the Honda Grom does too. when you shift up into third gear, sometimes it doesn't fully engage into third gear, so you'll be accelerating and it'll kind of do this, kind of a stutter, like it's not engaged in gear all the way. Like I said, my Grom does that too. I don't know, it must just be a quirk of this transmission in these bikes. It's nothing really to worry about. It's kind of annoying sometimes though when you're trying to give it some juice and ripping up first, second gear, and then you drop it into third gear and it does that, and then when you go to shift into fourth, because it's not all the way into third, it doesn't want to shift into fourth, you just get like, dead shifter, hit nothing. So you just let off the gas and then do it again and it'll go up into it. But what I've learned is when you shift into third, you can kind of feel it. It's a very slight difference between it when it does go into gear and when it doesn't. But if you get used to it and you feel it, and you know when it doesn't go into gear, all you got to do is just let off the throttle a little bit, and that little bit of slop in the gears, and just re-accelerate again, it'll lock it back into gear, so you can go and shift it into fourth, just like that. Anyways, what else that I've noticed about this bike, comparing this directly to my Grom, it feels, I don't know if it's because I did a gear change on it, a front sprocket change on my Grom, if that's the difference that I'm feeling, but it feels almost like this bike has a little more horsepower, and by a little more it might even be a third of a horsepower or 2/3 of a horsepower. See, it just did that again where it didn't go into third all the way. But anyways, this bike feels a little bit faster on the top end, like it's got more pull throughout the rev range. But we're going up this pretty steep hill right here right now, and this thing, it climbs hills just fine. This is a really sharp corner, so I have to drop it down into first to do this, but I know GoPro doesn't really show how steep hills are or nothing, but see, the engine's not bogging or nothing going up this hill. See, and it did it again. I don't know. Sometimes you can go all day riding this thing and it doesn't do that stupid thing in third gear, and then sometimes it does it 3, 4, 5 times in a row and then goes away, but I'm not going to worry about it. So pretty much everything about this bike I love. That could be a little bit brighter. That's kind of a pet peeve right there. I know a lot of other people have complained about it. Everybody raves at you when you're on this thing, but everybody has complained about the brightness of the speedometer. Yeah, it could be better, but it's not impossible to see even in sunlight. I've noticed it, oddly enough, it's harder to see when the sun's like at a 90-degree angle to the bike, like it's off to your right or off to your left. When it's behind you or in front of you, you can read it just fine. Strange. But that's one thing they could have improved on. Maybe they'll make it a little bit better in years to come. It could have a clock on here. That would be nice. I mean, it's not like I want to check what time it is all the time when I'm out riding, but it might be nice to just glance down and see it. And also, if they could add one thing that I'd like for them to do, if they're going to start making changes to this bike sometime in the future. You see this black ring between the digital readout and the chrome bezel there? That black ring right there, that would be really cool if they put a sweep tachometer in there. Nice. Imagine, just they hide it back inside there, just kind of make it so that it's nice and subtle. You can't really see it too much, but just something so you can tell, what your RPMs are as you're cruising around. But I think, they probably just wanted to keep this bike really simple, and there's not much more that I could say that hasn't already been said in other videos and other reviews and walk-arounds. They're a great little bike. My plans for this bike are to just leave it, 95% stock. I'm going to change out the turn signals and the taillight, but that's, I'm swapping them over for other stock parts, just not stock to the United States. What else am I going to do to it? Really not much more. I might get a rear fender eliminator for it, but I'm still kind of debating that. Oddly enough, I don't really mind the look of the back fender on this, even though it's big and plastic and sticks way out there. I don't really mind. These mirrors, I'm keeping these mirrors. To me, they're kind of a part of what makes this monkey bike look like the way it does. Let's see, what else? Yeah, other than that, I don't think I'm going to change anything on it. I'm definitely not going to change out the exhaust and put something else on it. While the aftermarket exhausts do sound good, to me I don't like the way they look. When you pull the factory exhaust on this and put an aftermarket on it, you're kind of removing 25% of the styling from the right hand side of the bike. So I'm not going to put an aftermarket exhaust on it unless somebody comes out with one that uses the same factory heat shield and the same factory housing and everything. I'm not going to do it. I guess the big reason why I bought this bike is because I just absolutely love the way that it looked. Sure, the price is kind of scaring a few people away, but I think the target audience that Honda was going after with this bike are probably people even older than me. You know, I'm not ancient by any means. I'm 45 years old, but I think they're probably looking at people, you know, in their 50s, their 60s, even in their 70s. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thanks everybody for watching my very amateur review of this bike. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm not even good at this YouTube thing, but it's fun. That's why I do it. Anyways, leave a comment down below, hit that like button, and if you enjoy my content, hit that subscribe button. I have plans for a lot more videos to come. So thanks for watching. Ride safe and have a good day. We will talk at you later.